Welcome to Bergen Stage's Radio Theater's 5-Minute Mystery. Today's episode is Murder of Mrs. Brooks. See if you can solve the case before the end of the episode.
Well, Alice, one more block and you'll behold the Brooks household.
2 whole years, Jim. It just doesn't seem possible. It's been so long. You and Dorothy married and with a place of your own.
It's true, all right. Only too bad you haven't taken advantage of the old Brooks hospitality sooner.
Well, I'm here now, and I intend on having a perfectly wonderful time.
Well, here we are.
Oh, what a charming place this is.
Dorothy's probably on needles and pins waiting for me to get you here. Darling, it's Jim. Here's Alice.
Jim, look!
What? Where?
There on the living room floor. It's Dorothy. Dead.
Mr. Brooks, I'm afraid you and Miss Manning will have to submit to some routine questions.
I'll be happy to help in any way I can, Inspector.
Thank you, Miss Manning. Now, Mr. Brooks, while we're waiting for some information I phoned for, I want you to tell me exactly what happened this morning.
There's nothing much to tell. Both my wife and I were quite excited, expecting Alice, that is Miss Manning here, to visit us from Chicago. Well, I was to wait until she called me at the office.
And you were there all morning?
Yes, until Miss Manning's train arrived and we came out here.
I had written Mrs. Brooks to tell her that I would call Jim at the office as soon as I arrived. The train was an hour late. Maybe if I had been here earlier, it may have prevented this.
Well, that remains to be seen. Apparently, Mrs. Brooks was sitting here in this chair putting red polish on her fingernails when she was shot from behind. The polish has spilled all over the carpet, and she was still holding the tiny brush in her hand. She must have recognized her attacker, and since she did not die instantly, she printed these 3 initials here on the floor with the polish. D.O.C.
D.O.C.? I wish we could tell whose initials she was trying to reveal.
You're sure you don't know anyone whose name would fit that?
Oh, positive. I can't...
Oh.
Yes, Miss Manning? Can you think of somebody with those initials?
Well, D.O.C. spells Doc, and it's Mr. Brooks' nickname.
Why, it can't be.
Yes, Mr. Brooks?
Well, I haven't been called Doc for over 2 years. It was a nickname I picked up in school. My wife didn't like the name, and I never used it. No one in New York even knows me by Doc. You've got to believe me, Inspector. It's the truth.
Well, that we'll see. Just a minute. Hello? Yes, Grady. Yes. I see. Well, it's sewed up anyway. Thanks. Well, you both will be happy to know our little murder is solved.
Oh, then it wasn't Doc after all?
No, Miss Manning, it wasn't Doc. I'm arresting you, Miss Manning, for the murder of Dorothy Brooks.
Why did the inspector arrest Miss Manning for the murder of Mrs. Brooks? In a moment, we'll hear. And now, back to our story.
How dare you arrest me? I was still on the train.
Your train wasn't late, Miss Manning. That phone call just verified the fact. You came out here, murdered Mrs. Brooks, returned to the station, and called Mr. Brooks to pick you up. That wasn't what really gave you away, though, Miss Manning. Too bad you didn't know Mr. Brooks was no longer called Doc when you printed those letters on the carpet. The next time you leave a name as a clue to throw suspicion, you'd better get the name right. But of course, there won't be a next time, will there, Miss Manning?
Did you figure it out? Please join again for another chance to solve our 5-minute mystery. This week's story, Murder of Mrs. Brooks, featured Kayla Haskins as Alice, Matthew Rella as Jim, and Alexander Preziosi as the policeman. Dean Matson is our recording engineer and special effects creator. Marianne Coe is our video engineer, and I am Jim Bumgardner, your host. Thank you to Bergen Community College, the BCC Office of Student Life, and the BCC Media Technologies Department. Join us for another episode of Bergen Stage's Radio Theater soon, and be sure to catch some of our earlier episodes online. Until next time, don't touch that dial, and if you do, remember to disinfect it first.